Hello everyone, and welcome to my YNR Daily Spoiler channel. Jill chooses to divulge a startling secret about Billy's long-lost brother. YNR spoilers before she passes away. The actual secret, what Jill divulges. Jill's admission is not a coincidental development. It's structural. She reveals that the man everyone believed to be Billy's long-lost brother, the absentee whose name had been mumbled at lawyers' offices and family tables for years, is not missing because he walked away or was abandoned. On the night of his birth, he was purposefully left out of the family tree. Jill claims that there are several factors at play, including love, a mistake, and a deal. She repeats the same tale in a sealed envelope sent to Billy's attorney, in an old journal she asks a close friend to read after she leaves, and in a taped statement that will be played during an urgent family meeting. The main revelation is that the brother is real, alive, and has a different name and identity. Those who believed they were defending the family, including her, planned his absence. The alternative would have scandalized a business deal that saved livelihoods at the time, so the child was discreetly given to another family to raise, his paternity unrecorded. Silence was promised in exchange. For decades, Jill kept her word. The promise now perishes with her. The scene and how she reveals it. The way this is portrayed on screen is done with dramatic care. It doesn't blow up during a brawl. That would make it less valuable. Rather, the episode is built through silence, such as the slow folding of a paper, the click of a cane, and a doctor's office. Under the guise of talking about estate plans, Jill calls a private meeting. Her children, her favorite grandchildren, and their spouses are all included in the Abbott study. The voice of the woman who has guided this family through difficult times is one of weakness and absoluteness. She explains, first haltingly and then with a clarity that reveals the practiced words of someone who has been repeating them to herself for months. She gives the proof, which includes a sealed affidavit from a midwife, a bank ledger revealing a paid hush sum, a letter from the adoptive family confirming the child's identity as their son, and a copy of a birth certificate with the altered name. She names the man who took the child, but not in a scream but rather in a matter-of-fact tone. The temperature rises and then falls. Not only is the information scandalous, but it also dislodges an entire family history. Billy's world shatters in the immediate aftermath. The son who spent his entire life under the shadow of a ghost brother has the first and most visceral response. Like a tree slanting toward the light, he has grown older around the absence. It is a different kind of grief, righteous, electric, and raw, to be informed that the brother was taken rather than lost. In addition to feeling robbed, he is furious about the intentional erasure of a human life and the notion that his family's history was manufactured and sold. He wants to know who called, who signed the documents, and, above all, where his brother is right now. The emotional stakes are complicated by the financial ones. If located and willing, the long-lost brother might inherit a cold, harsh inheritance and emotional solace. As counsel goes through documents, the legal team is immediately mobilized. Shareholders of the company perceive vulnerability. This is corporate exposure rather than merely family drama. Perception is the foundation of contracts, and perception suddenly becomes a liability. Overnight, family alliances change. Truth is both a glue and a grenade in any close-knit clan. Angry and defensive on principle, some members support Billy. Others shudder at the suggestion that a child's identity was sacrificed in order to maintain the family's public image. The woman who confided in Jill turns into a lightning rod. One moment she swears allegiance, the next she admits to being complicit. Relationships are reassessed, a brother-in-law's financial motivations are questioned, and a sister who previously appeared aloof now appears to be a conspirator. The trend toward legalism is predictable but powerful. One group wants to use the disclosure to recoup what was lost, which includes opening documents, calling witnesses, and filing lawsuits if needed. Another group advises caution, claiming that the family has a responsibility to protect the brother's privacy and that disclosing his past could traumatize him. Because it allows characters to be both brave and cowardly in the same hour, this split creates scenes full of moral debate and human hesitation, which is perfect for soap operas. Where is the brother now? The hunt is underway. The search is the next engine in the story. This is portrayed in the show as a procedural intercut with personal beats, investigators, an adoptive family with their own set of secrets, a faded photograph that suggests a distant timeline, and a midwife whose memory is fragile due to aging. Slow reveals are used in the production, such as a letter's postmark, a phone call that is traced, or a database search that turns up a name that a member of the family recognizes, not as family, but as a neighbor or a classmate. The authors wisely steer clear of a tidy conclusion, and there is no guarantee that you will find him. Rather, they allowed the hunt to get messy. False alarms and dead ends are present. Every possible lead raises fresh concerns regarding consent, identity, and the morality of getting back in touch. At 30 or 40, would you want to know that your origin story had been altered? With scenes of quiet confrontation, such as a son in a small town who doesn't want to be in a soap opera, an adoptive mother who calls after years, and a man who answers politely but then says nothing at all, the show delves deeply into that emotional territory. One important dramatic axis is the brother's response. The moral tone of the arc is established by the brother's response when he is eventually located, and the writers have the option of revealing him as a previously known character, a reintroduced character, or as a completely new face. If he harbors resentment, he becomes a figure of righteous rage who might seek personal or legal retribution. He becomes someone who must choose whether to incorporate this new identity into his life if he is confused. If he is appreciative, the situation runs the risk of becoming sentimental but presents chances for therapeutic scenes with potentially beautiful dialogue. Making him ambivalent, a man whose life was molded by decisions made for him, is a more intriguing approach. He views re-entering this family as both a blessing and a hot spotlight that will reopen old wounds. His first encounters with the family are tense and exciting. He politely drinks coffee as he processes the realization that his identity, name, history, and story have all been created by someone else. Legal and business repercussions. Jill's secret is not a private one. They permeate boardrooms and balance sheets. Perceptions of parental wrongdoing or hush money transactions have the potential to damage the Abbott family's corporate assets and public image. Investors and competitors see an opening. Lawsuits could be possible if foundational documents were fabricated or if previous agreements depended on keeping a scandal under wraps. Scenes of tense legal counsel, urgent board meetings, and an Abbott front that has to answer for previous decisions are all to be expected. The family rushes to protect the business by releasing a controlled version of the truth, making PR statements, and issuing disclaimers. In the meantime, private rooms are used to debate the brothers' legal rights, including inheritance, files, and DNA verification. Dramatized court battles and secret negotiations are ideal in this setting. Who gets to tell a life story? That is the moral dilemma. This arc essentially addresses a question that the show has always loved: who gets to define someone's identity? Jill's choice raises additional questions. Was the brothers' deletion an act of theft or protection? The authors can present this as a moral parody in which some characters call it a betrayal of human dignity, while others defend Jill's intentions because she believed she was defending a vulnerable social fabric. Scenes involving the moral center of the family, those who believe the brother has a right to know and those who wish to protect his privacy, make this argument particularly compelling. A daughter-in-law who lost the opportunity to be honest, a son who lived his entire life feeling inferior, and an old friend who kept the secret out of loyalty and now has to deal with the consequences of that loyalty all make for interesting monologues. Opportunities for narrative reverberations throughout Genoa City. The writers have an embarrassment of wealth once the secret is revealed. Personal tales include broken romances, a man making amends with a father who isn't his, and a woman who has to face the morality of a past she believed to be honorable. Corporate tales include an Abbott power struggle during an urgent shareholder meeting, shrewd competitors taking action, and reporters vying for a dramatic series. Probate lawyers going through wills, identifying possible heirs, and the possibility of reviving time-barred claims are all examples of legal tales. The emotional fallout includes scenes of reconciliation that might or might not succeed, characters who are compelled to reconsider the ethical cost of their comfort, and younger relatives who witness the abuse of power by adults. The plot also leaves room for some major revelations later on. Maybe the brother has ties to a rival family, Or maybe the document trail leads not just to Jill but also to someone else who pushed for secrecy. The season can be peppered with slow-burning implications by the writers, making daily viewing compulsive. Performance notes: what to look out for. An actor would love this material. It is acceptable for the actress portraying the matriarch to have multiple personalities, such as fierce, exhausted, apologetic, and proud. In the course of a single scene, the actor portraying the son must traverse a range from tentative tenderness to righteous fury. Whether a long-term return or a brief appearance, the new brother needs to be portrayed in shades of anger, confusion, humor, and hurt. The harsher sibling who wants to make the public pay, the cousin who worries about losing company shares, and the friend who has to choose whether to speak are examples of supporting players who receive rich beats. Why viewers will be captivated. This plot works because it blends the mechanics of high-stakes drama with a profoundly human emotional question. Who's the brother isn't enough. It's about how families heal from trauma, identity, and stolen histories. Because it forces allegiances, fans will discuss it, tweet lines, and rewatch the little moments, like the silent handshake between two men who aren't yet sure if they are related, the long pause at the envelope, and the sidelong glance in the study. Potential arcs for where this goes next. The brotherhood dilemma: when a new man joins the family, there is instant conflict over corporate positions and inheritance. He is either a saboteur or a savior. Legal battle royale: a lawsuit unearths additional complicity and challenges old documents. It turns out that former allies are more responsible than previously believed. Emotional redemption: a protracted, laborious storyline in which the brothers develop a bond through intimate, small-scale moments such as late-night confessions, baseball games, and coffee. Public reckoning: the Abbott family is made into a spectacle by the media, which forces them to deal with heartbreak and their reputation. The bigger secret: there is another ledger, another name, and another individual who might have contributed to the initial disappearance. Jill's disclosure is merely the first domino effect. Concluding remarks: a final deed that transforms legacies. The best soap opera writing forces characters to be more than their reputations, as demonstrated by Jill's final decision to tell Billy the truth about his long-lost brother. It sets the stage for a season in which forgiveness is neither simple nor certain, identity is contested, and power is brittle. It also invites unvarnished human reckoning. Both the Abbott family and viewers' perceptions of what family preserves and destroys will never be the same. As usual, Genoa City will observe the consequences and discuss who was right to reveal the information, who was wrong to keep it a secret, and whether or not anyone can genuinely rebuild a life that was subtly altered for the comfort of another. When the dust settles, the best question to ask is straightforward: what will people do with the truth once it has a voice?